I got a gouge, it wasn't correctly sharpened, but I also want to have in-cannel gouge. Basically, I need to correct the gender of my gouge, and there are multiple ways how this operation can be done. I haven't done this before, but watched several YouTube videos, so I think I know what I'm doing. As a first task, which ended up being the longest, is completely removing the bevel on the outside, so the back is really flat. I used my bench grinder, and as I said, it took quite a bit of amount of time. There isn't much special about this operation, you just need to have a reasonable tool rest and remember to dip the gouge in water or something else regularly to avoid overheating. This is in the case if you are using high-speed grinder with traditional wheel. I cannot even imagine how this could be done without the grinder. I guess it could take ages doing it completely by hand. Eventually it did the job and my gouge became not really a gouge but some kind of a scraper. The second stage for in-cannel gouge is a bit more complicated. There is no way, or at least I couldn't figure out the way how it can be done with a regular wheel, but a good property of the traditional wheels is that they wear out and this can be actually used to shape them to something else. If you shape a radius that I saw in one of the YouTube videos to smaller than the radius of the gouge, then the things may work out. I bought a new 3/4 inch wheel and ground it to be round. This actually worked okay for my gouge, but if I had a smaller gouge, I probably would have a problem and would need to invent something else. Allegedly there are 1/4 inch bench grinder wheels, but I wasn't able to find them on Amazon. With a rounded grinding wheel, I could actually start grinding. As I don't have any bevel right now on the gouge, so I have to kind of guess the angle. I tried to pick an angle around 20-25 degrees and had to play a little bit with my rudimentary jig for this angle. Actual grinding was quite similar to an Out-Cannel gouge, so I carefully placed the gouge on the wheel and slowly rotated it to grind the inside bevel from side to side. I was a bit surprised that it went quite fast and I got a really nice inside bevel and it didn't really take too much time. When you do the grinding, you just have to be careful, dip in water to control the temperature and frequently check that you are getting closer to the edge and equally. I was just doing this by eye and I think it worked quite well. After I felt the burr on all around, I just stopped grinding and went to fine sharpening. This was another tiny surprise that it didn't take too long and went quite smooth. I used a small dowel and a few grits of fine sandpaper, a few minutes of 1000 grit on both sides of the bevel, following with a quick 2000 grit polishing and finishing with a quick stropping on both sides. I was quite pleased with the result and the fact that it wasn't quite super hard to do that. I was probably thinking more how to do it versus the amount of time I spent doing it. Really, the step that took me the longer was removal of the back bevel, and I guess this was the biggest amount of material to remove. The rest was reasonably fast and I was so happy to play with my new tool. This is my first and at the moment the only in-cannel gouge, so I'm really happy with the result. Still, I think I messed up somewhere. I don't know where, but I messed up somewhere.